pallbearer. Too much time with corpses. No kidding.
If I can get everybody to face the front of the boat.
Shamayim va'aretz, Ezri me'im Adonai, Oseh Shamayim va'aretz, Hayiten lamod raglecha, Ayanum shomrecha, Hine lo yanum velo yishan, Shomer Yisrael, Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha, Hayad yeminecha, Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha, Hayad yeminecha, Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka, ve'yareach balayla, Adonai yishmorcha mikora, Yishmor et nafshecha, Adonai yishmor tzedcha uvoecha, me'ata ve'ad olam, Adonai yishmor tzedcha uvoecha, me'ata ve'ad olam. Al mekoma tavo v'shalom.
As is our custom, we begin with this recitation of a psalm. Psalm 121, Shir LaMa'alot, a song for those who ascend. Esa einai el heharim me'ayin yavo ezri. I turn my eyes to the mountains, from where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, from God, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way, your guardian will not slumber. You see, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian, your protection at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your life. God will guard your going and coming now and forever. May Marilyn go unto God in peace. Hatzur tamim Paulo ki chod rachav mishpat el emunah ve'einav el tzadik v'yashar hu. Tzadik atah Adonai lahamidu lahachayot asher biyadcha pigadon kol ruchot chalelecha zichronenu limchot v'yihiu nainecha berachamim aleinu fekuchot ki lecha Adon harachamim ve'haslichot. Adonai Natan v'Adonai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. V'hu rachum yechaper avon v'lo yashchid, v'hirba lashiv apo v'lo yirkol chamato, v'yashov he'afar, al haaretz shehaya ve'aruach tashuv, el Elohim asher netana. The dust returns to the earth as it was, but the spirit returns to God who gave it. May our beloved soul be bound up in the bond of life eternal, and may God send comfort to those who mourn, and grant strength to those whose burden is sorrow. Thank you, everyone, for being here. To those of you who are able to be with us here in person at the cemetery, and to all of you who have tuned in to our broadcast of this service, we thank you for joining your hearts together to give courage and strength to those who are now in mourning, and for joining together as a community as we honor and pay tribute to Marilyn Perl. Miriam Rachel Bat Yitzchak V'Leah, the daughter of Irving and Lucy Bricker, Zichronam Livracha, of blessed memory. Marilyn passed away in the early morning hours yesterday, the 12th day in the Hebrew month of Tevet, just a few weeks shy of her 65th birthday, and following a 3-year fight with cancer. She is deeply missed and lovingly remembered by her family, her husband, Michael Perl, her children, Eitan and Avia, her grandson, Jacob, her brother, Martin, and sister-in-law, Debbie, with whom she shared the bond of sisters, her nephew, David, and niece, Ivy, as well as by many dear friends, by many colleagues and clients she built relationships with over nearly 40 years through her work at Winnipeg Drapery, and really, by anyone she ever met. Because Marilyn Perl was a truly wonderful person, someone special, someone memorable, who made a lasting impression on everyone she met. She was predeceased by her parents, Irving and Lucy, and by her beloved grandmother as well, with whom she had a close relationship, Tyval. In the Talmud, a code of explanation and commentary on Jewish law, there is a line. The tears shed at the passing of an Isha Shaarey are so precious to God that God counts each of them and stores them in a divine treasure house. It's interesting, the rabbis note, that it says Isha Shaarey, or Adam Kasher, a kosher person. They ask, why this word? Why not chashuv, an important person, chashuvah? or tovah, a good person. Because when the term kosher is applied to a person, it implies integrity, a goodness, a life lived in the spirit of Judaism. It includes a life of involvement with family, service to community, and reverence for God. The tears we shed today and going forward absolutely fall into this category, because Marilyn Perl was an Isha Kashera, a kosher person. She embodied these values of integrity and goodness, a life lived the right way. She showed tremendous kindness to everyone, family and friends for sure, but even strangers, even people she was just meeting for the first time. When I spoke with her family yesterday, they proudly recounted to me the number of people who met Marilyn, for example, through cancer care, and often dealt with her just once, who would tell them what a wonderful, warm person she was and the impression she made on them. Avia remembered introducing friends to her mom, and by the end of the very first visit, hearing her mom tell them, "I love you." And the advice her mom always gave: never show up to a friend's place empty-handed, even if they've been your friends for 10, 15 years. She was open-minded, accepting, and non-judgmental. She was a cool mom and a cool woman whose kids always felt safe sharing with her whatever was on their mind, that they could tell her anything. She never hesitated to drive them to friends' houses in the South End, run late-night pickups from concerts downtown, or even take them to professional wrestling shows, something she had bonded with her own dad. She loved having a welcoming house where her kids' friends would want to hang out. And she kept the snack cupboard regularly stocked. Chocolate, her own personal all-time guilty pleasure, cookies, candy, sandwiches. It became a famous must-stop among any young visitors who ever spent time at 28 Arrowwood Drive. Marilyn's weekly Friday night Shabbat dinners, with more food than anyone could eat, will remain cherished memories. Friends were always invited and included. She loved hosting. She loved bringing people together. This, of course, included the holidays, the meals for which often featured her signature outstanding gefilte fish. Marilyn always took the high road in life and regularly gave that advice as well. It's better to make amends than to hold a grudge. Always the peacemaker, always trying and usually succeeding to find calm, to intervene when needed, even and especially within her own immediate family. She herself grew up in a very close-knit family, with her parents, Irving and Lucy, her older brother Martin, and their maternal grandmother, Tybal, Lucy's mother, who lived all together in the family home on Forest Avenue in the North End. When her elderly mother became quite sick and had dementia, Marilyn went from daughter to mother, becoming the consummate caregiver, remarkably. Her parents were both immigrants and spoke Yiddish in the home. Marilyn didn't actually learn English until she was 3. When she and Martin went to Talmud Torah, where their mother had gone, they were pretty sure they were the school's first English as a second language students. From a very early age, Marilyn demonstrated many of the character traits that would come to define her throughout her life. She was very, very stubborn. Things were done her way, on her terms. No room for discussion. And when she put her mind to something and made that mind up, there was no swaying her. She was determined. She was very independent. She had strong female role models in her life and became a strong female role model herself from a very young age. She also didn't like accepting help. She wanted to do things by herself, taking tremendous pride in her ability to see a plan through to the end. This was even on display just a few weeks ago when she insisted on driving Michael to and from a medical appointment by herself, which she definitely didn't need to and maybe shouldn't have even been doing. She grew up in a home where her dad, a Holocaust survivor, instilled in both of his kids the ultimate value: family above all else. This came to define Marilyn when she met Michael and started her own family. Michael called her a lioness, always motivated to protect her family. Nothing could stand between her and her family, especially her kids. There were no borders to her devotion, dedication, and loyalty, no bounds to her love. She would defend them to the end. Avia half-jokingly said, "We're pretty sure Mom would have hid a dead body for us." She quickly and for all of her years embodied that ideal her father had instilled. In Michael, her husband, she found her perfect complement, the yin to her yang. He, so chill. She, hyper, super anxious. They balanced each other perfectly. From the moment they met on a Rosh Pina tour to Egypt and Israel in February 1980, from that moment they were inseparable. Michael had lived in Winnipeg for 7 years, but they had never met, not until that tour, which it sounds like he joined at the very last minute. But 10 days later, they were engaged at the Tel Aviv Hilton when Michael unknowingly slipped a ring onto her finger under the dinner table. Marilyn didn't exactly say yes, but she didn't say no either. The whole thing was much to her parents' surprise. They were married later that same year and have remained inseparable ever since, never really spending any time apart, except for when Michael would make solo visits to Israel to visit his family. And Marilyn was a little too anxious to fly. They did spend some traveling times together, a few trips to Israel, 2 especially noteworthy trips to Brazil, family vacations with the kids to California and other spots in the States, and they shared the 2 biggest highlights of their lives, the births of Eitan and Avia. Her grandson Jacob, though, is a close third. Marilyn absolutely relished the role of Bobby the last 4 years, and what we would describe as a healthy obsession with Jacob, buying him all of his clothes and other gifts, everything he needed plus all the things he didn't. He brought her immense joy. In the late 70s, Marilyn and Martin's father, Irving, asked them to join the family business, Winnipeg Drapery, which they eventually took over as owners in 1984. Marilyn flourished. She took to the manual labor aspects of the business like a fish to water. Her father had taught her all of his tricks, and she had an incredible natural talent for sewing, knitting, all the skills needed in the business. As well, she had a good color sense, an aptitude for math, and a strong business mind. She and Martin, who had been close all through childhood, goofing around in the store basement on weekends, making memories in their summers at the cottage at Winnipeg Beach, they thrived as business partners now. They trusted each other immensely and continued to stay close, maybe even growing closer, working full days together and then talking on the phone regularly at night. Many people will know Marilyn as someone who was funny and even silly, often smiling and laughing, upbeat and positive. She had the ability to crack people up with her humor, and no one more often or more effectively than Martin. The 2 of them would regularly be red-faced, in stitches, laughing hysterically during some family get-together to an inside joke only the 2 of them shared. In recent years, when Martin himself had health troubles, Marilyn made a point of visiting him every day for 1.5 years. Their bond was truly special. Siblings, business partners, and best friends. As with all of us, Marilyn also had her fair share of little things that made her smile, even quirks. Most notably, her obsession with nail polish. Something she developed as a teenager. She always had elaborately, beautifully painted nails and took pride in them. Long, natural nails. No gels, nothing fake. Even just days ago, she somehow found the energy in palliative care to paint her nails. But with Marilyn, everything always circles back to family. She had the uncanny ability to turn strangers into friends and friends into family. She extended her lioness love to so many throughout her life in such a generous, selfless way. Her friends, her kids' friends, would regularly text her. She had some especially close friends, Bonnie, Leslie, Sandy, who were like sisters to her as well. She brought warmth, kindness, happiness to everyone she knew. If we all acted that way, what a world it would be. And how lucky anyone is, whoever considered themselves, even for a brief moment or just one night at the dinner table, to be part of Marilyn's family, where she was the mother, a mother of generations, a woman of valor, an Eshet Chayil, as it says in the book of Proverbs, the highest compliment that can be paid in Jewish tradition. In Proverbs it says, a mother of generations, a woman of valor, what a precious find. Her worth is far above rubies. She is precious in the gifts she has given her family. Her children have found trust and truth in these gifts. They follow in patterns she taught. She is robed in strength and dignity, and she smiles at the future. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. We benefit and learn from her wisdom. May she always be credited for the fruit of her labor and for her achievements. Wherever people gather, her deeds speak her praise. May she live on in glory. To lose someone so giving and so wonderful at such a young age, so clearly before her time, is a tragedy. But there is wisdom in Jewish tradition that death is better than a life of pain, and eternal rest is better than a constant sickness. It is our hope that Marilyn be free of pain, and that she may rest in peace, while the rest of us have years of memories to cherish and to let them into our own lives, to inspire the way we live. Shochein b'merumin, hamtzei menucha nechona tachat kanfei hashchina b'malot kedoshim uteorim kezohar harakia mazirim et nishmat Miriam Rachel bat Yitzchak v'Leah shelcha leolama began eden de menuchata anabal harachamim
הסתיריה בסתר כנפיך לעולמים, וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה. ונאמר Amen.
Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure to the soul of Marilyn Perl, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that she find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. In a moment we will turn to the words of the Mourner's Kaddish, and we will close our service with the familiar ritual of shoveling earth into the grave. The family will lead us, and everyone is invited to participate. In Jewish tradition, we believe it is the highest form of respect you can show a person to accompany her to her final resting place, and that includes the final act of shoveling. We view this as a mitzvah, a righteous act we do without any hope of reward, selfless, and with it we take on the responsibility of caring for our loved one until the very end, because we believe our loved ones deserve to be buried by kind, knowing, and sorrowful hands, hands that once held their hands. We recognize it can be painful, but again, we remind ourselves it is an act born of love and compassion for someone who meant so much to so many people. Adonai Natan v'Adonai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. We said these words earlier in the service, and we echo them again in conclusion. They come from Job, the epitome of suffering in Jewish tradition. God you have given, God you have taken away. Blessed be the name of God. May Marilyn's memory be for a blessing, as we mark that her essence will never leave our hearts and our souls. The Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabah, Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabah mevorach le'alam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal Shemei dekudsha berichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh Shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the one who creates peace and harmony on high bring peace and harmony to us, to all Israel, to all humanity. And again we say together, Amen. As we are still in this pandemic, and variants continue to make our lives quite difficult when it comes to gathering, there will be no meal or a formal shiva. The family has asked me to thank you for your words of support, for reaching out. I encourage everyone to continue to do that, text messages, emails. They also asked me, phone calls, they also asked me to encourage anyone who would be thinking of sending a meal to instead make a donation to cancer care, or the people who work in palliative care. They would greatly appreciate that generosity being shown there. To the family, we offer these words, Hamakom yinachem etchem betoch sha'ar avelei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May you be comforted and consoled among all those who are in mourning or who have ever been in mourning in our community. And again, a thank you to everyone for joining us, for being here today, to our pallbearers, to our community, to Marilyn's family. Thank you. I'll now invite the family to come forward and lead us in the shoveling.